What's going on there, YouTube? It's Gores here, giving you guys a deck profile for my Zefra Swordsoul list that I took with me to my local tournaments this weekend. Friday, I went X1 and took second place, playing through the top and the first 4 rounds. And then day 2 was the pre-release, where I ended up taking top 8, but losing out to my friend. He was playing Blue Eyes. His list is pretty crazy. I'm going to try and get a deck profile for that for you guys here pretty shortly. But without further ado, let's just get into the deck. So first off, we had 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 1 copy of Despot, 3 copies of Gamma. The hand trap package was pretty optimal in my opinion. It was pretty. This is all you really need, and then the Despot is just for the Hulk play that you need for the Zefra combo. So then we had the 1 Teller Knight Zephyr Thubin and 1 Zefra Saiton. These are mostly in there just so that we have the bridge for Small World. And it was pretty solid, to be honest. Like, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I really enjoyed the level 4s. They put in a lot of work for me. Definitely recommend them. This card really helps for floodgates too. The Zephyr Thubin, just because you can pop any Zephyr in a face-up card. For the Sword Soul package, we played the 1 Mo Ye, the 1 Tai, and the 1 Long Yuan. This is just, you don't really need to play multiples of these because you can just summon them off your Yazi play with your Auroradon combo. So that's all you really needed there. 3 copies of Zephyrus, just copy scales, you have to run 3. Especially because we don't get to run Gallant Granite in this variant. I mean, you could, but honestly, your normal summon can be pretty important in this deck. So I like 3 copies of Zephyrus, it worked pretty well. Then we have the 3 copies of Zephyr Nui. Zephyr Nui is just the best level 6 and the best high scale, so we definitely had to run it. The Zephyr Saiton was always getting banished off Small World, so there was a game where I ran out of high scales, but I mean, we actually still ended up winning because Sword Soul monsters are just too strong. Doubles Zephraxy, it's a low scale that recycles itself, and also it makes a monster a tuner so that we can go into our Hulk. For the spells, we played 1 Called by the Grave. It's just the best one of in the game right now. It answers Eldritch and DPE. I just really enjoy it. 3 copies of Oracle of Zefra, 3 copies of Small World, 3 copies of Emergency, and 1 copy of Terraforming, and 3 copies of Providence gives us a total of 13 spell starters for the deck, which makes our consistency insane. And then I opted to play 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent in the main deck. This is probably the only thing I would change in the deck. Would be, I don't know if I'd main these. It was between these or Forbidden Chalice, and Chalice just seemed like it was better every time I had this. So, but Talents wasn't bad either. Just being able to pick the hand traps out of our opponent's hand was pretty important. 3 copies of Providence, 1 copy of Blackout, 1 copy of Divine Strike, and 1 copy of Zephyr War. That's all pretty standard. Basically, we were playing the War because we want something to be able to extend into the grind game. That's like one of the main things that this deck is really good at versus like pure Sword Soul or pure Zefra, is that you just get so many resources from your trap cards, and it's pretty strong. Like, you just get to out-resource your opponent and just out-sustain them. Like, you just float basically the whole game into Sword Soul Synchro monsters over and over again. So really enjoyed the main deck. Honestly, the only changes I would make would be the TTTs. For the side deck, it's based off like my locals basically, but this side deck is pretty good overall. You guys can just gloss over it, and whatever your locals is, I recommend that's what you side. And then for the extra deck, 1 Baron, 1 Baxia, 1 Omega. Omega came up a couple of times when we would drop the Gamma and we didn't want to go for Hulk, which was almost never. Like 9 times out of 10, we're going to make Hulk. You could replace this with Draco Berserker, but the Omega actually comes in clutch quite a bit. 1 copy of Croco Dragon. This is just so that we can Oracle combo into a Sword Soul if we need to. Next up, we have the 2 copies of Sword Soul Grandmaster Chichao. Had to play 2. This card was cracked all day. 1 copy of the Synchro Longyong. We did not make it once. But like the opportunity in certain matchups, it is pretty good, like against Eldritch. So 1 copy of Cheng Ying. Card's insane. 1 copy of Shen Shen. This card wins games right now against so many different matchups. So definitely would not be caught playing this version of the deck without it. 1 copy of Yazi. 1 copy of Constellar M7. one copy of Zeus. This didn't come up at all the second day, but it did come up the first day, and it was pretty strong when it did. Being able to add the Sword Soul back was the main reason we made it. So I didn't even have to make Zeus. They scooped, but if they didn't, I was going to be able to make Zeus with Chi Chao, which was pretty strong. One Hulk, one Gravity Controller, and one Aurora